Ryan Hollins played for a decade in the NBA. He was very well traveled, 9 teams in 10 years. He had Ty Lue, he had Doc Rivers. So we were saying is one of the things that's great about the Warriors, these guys have all been paid. Klay's rich, Draymond's rich, Steph is rich. So at this point, Ryan, they want to win games. And so last night, Steph's like, I'm just going to make us a better team. I'm going to pass. Draymond's like, yeah, I'm going to guard AD. That's a brutal assignment. There's like a value with Golden State, Ryan, and you played in a lot of teams. It's not like this every team. It's all about the chess match tomorrow and winning the game. They look like a different team from game one. They were asked to do different things. Did you ever play on a team like that where you thought we're just smarter and more adaptable than other teams?
I think in Boston, with Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, we could play different styles. We can go and grind with you on the defensive end and had KG barking. And, even though it was a little later in Tickett's career, he could go out and get you big numbers on the offensive end. We came a game away from going to the NBA Finals, and that's when the young OKC was on the other side. I digress. We don't want to talk about that. Don't get me fired up. Nonetheless, I think that was a team where we could win defensively. We could score. We had different weapons. Yeah. Ray Allen could get cooking. Ray was the second or third option, so I've seen it before, Colin.
I said this. For LeBron James, this is not his team, and the reason I can tell it's not his team is because if you look at some of the stats in the league, when AD plays great, they always win. When AD's okay, they're 500. I thought LeBron was very good last night, and they were destroyed. Is that we have to come to terms, I think, if you're the Lakers. They're going to win this series if AD is dominant. LeBron can give you 24. I mean, I watched last night, and I'm like, AD's off. They marginalized AD. They get rolled. Like, what does he have to give you every night to win this series, in your opinion?
Look, he's got to be in that that high double range. 18 and 15, 20 and 15. 30 and 12. That's what you got to see from AD. But here's the reality. Anthony Davis is not the guy that you just drop the ball to on the block and you say, go get busy. The game is not played that way in the NBA anymore. It's got to be Anthony Davis's activity, blocking shots, setting picks, diving to the rim. You got to find a way to get him easy looks in transition. That early post-up is probably the best look for Anthony Davis. So I don't think it's realistic to say Anthony Davis just here's the ball, go to work, and give us 30 points. But he can affect you defensively. And keep in mind, and you expected this, Draymond Green had a focus where he could no longer roam, and he had to go over and guard Anthony Davis. You saw less minutes for Gary Payton the second. You saw, less minutes for Kevon Looney. You saw more JaMychal Green, a former teammate of mine. So one thing that Kerr did and that he's shown in the past, JaVale McGee used to be this guy where he put a lot of size on the floor, and there was a real commitment to Anthony Davis. And he said, hey, LeBron James, can you beat me? LeBron James, can you be LeBron and beat me? Because we're going to focus on Anthony Davis. That's the real question right now in the series.
Who do you – I like Golden State in 5 or 6. I still like them. I do think Game 3 – now, it's only one game off between games now, Ryan, and I think that hurts the team that relies on an old star LeBron. Now, Steph's 35, but he's like Mr. Cardio. That guy can run forever. I think the Lakers, with 2.5 days extra rest in game 1, you could see it. But I think you're going to get an inconsistent Laker offense going forward. They just don't have a lot of time between games. So I like Golden State. Where are you this morning on the series?
I'm about 60-40 Golden State. Here's the reality. The Lakers did what they're supposed to do. The Lakers are sitting fat and happy right now. They got to win 2 games at home, and that completely shifts this series. There's every series right now that, Colin, as a former player, you go down 0-2, it is not time to sweat. You go over, and we be saying this in the locker rooms, look, man, what happens game 3 is going to pivot this entire series. Now, with Golden State, they have home court advantage. They just lost to the Lakers, so now they got to take care of business at home, and they got to come out and respond. And the one thing we know is the Lakers bolstered what? Their role players. LeBron James has never been able to sit off on the sidelines, go sit in the corners, and let his role players play. In fact, when LeBron went off the court, the Lakers just severely struggled. And this is a different Lakers team. So ultimately, I look at these role players having a chance to play better at home. And I say that to say, Colin, I will not write off the Lakers. I think this game 3 is going to be incredibly impactful. Whoever wins this game 3 wins the series.
And by the way, you said something that is historically true. Role players in the playoffs are always much better players at home. They don't feel as overwhelmed. They're often young players. They get energized by the crowd. So I think the Lakers will play a great game 3. I want to talk Celtics.
I'll give you this real quick. I'm sorry. The Lakers, this is smarter Darvin Ham. Guess what he's going out and saying? Somebody else beat me. Somebody else beat me, not named Steph Curry. So that focus is going to be on Steph Curry. And you have to say, hey, are the Warriors a good enough team to where Draymond and Clay, who went off the other night, and those guys can beat you? Are you going to hold and throw that box and one type style on Steph Curry and keep him contained? Does that win out? Do the Warriors have enough help? They've shown that they have had more help than the Lakers have, but that may be an issue. It was a huge issue in game 1.
So it's interesting. The Celtic team you played on had real alphas. KG is Mr. Alpha. Paul Pierce is an alpha. Ray Allen had a lot of that. Ray Allen wanted to take the shot. Like if he felt disrespected, I'll go play in Miami with LeBron. So it was a team that had a lot of alpha. This Boston team has a lot of talent, but I worry about them in close games. I mean, Jason Tatum is not the kind of personality that just says, Marcus Smart, get me the ball, clear out. He's not. So I guess my question to you is, you look at that Warrior team that won, you could argue there was almost, even Doc Rivers is alpha. Like there was a lot of guys that wanted the ball. And and most championship teams have that. This Celtic team, who is the guy with a minute left? Because do you worry about that?
I do. There's been a lot of inconsistencies in Boston. At the end of the day, I think top to bottom, they're the most talented team in the league. When they lost the championship last year, I think they were far more talented than Golden State. What's dangerous is their strength in numbers. I think the real X factor here is Malcolm Brogdon. I think he's the guy that you have to put your third or fourth best defender on, and he's going to go and score. And I think if Jason Tatum gets going, now that's the ball game. And I think the mindset is just, hey, let's win with our defense. Let's win with our tough play. And then if Jason's hot, he becomes that guy that's unguardable. I don't think he's at that stage yet, with all due respect, where he just takes the ball and he says, get out of my way. And there's rare. There's Steph Curry in the league right now that has that. There's Kevin Durant, Devin Booker in moments. And I think that they're going to say, hey, we got to beat you in numbers. And like I said, Malcolm Brogdon provides enough offenses compared to Smart. He's more of a kind of a combo, more of a true point guard that you can put the ball in his hands and play through him. But I think much like Anthony Davis, you got to get easy shots. You got to get easy looks for Jason Tatum. That'll be the key for Joe Mazzulla going forward.
So I think Ty Lue is one of the best coaches in the league. He deals with inflamed situations. You know, the Shaq Kobe stuff he knows well. Dealing with Cleveland, Kyrie, LeBron stuff. Now he's got Kawhi, Paul George. He's very good at that. He's respected by players. He's not a yes man. Milwaukee fires their coach. And I look at Ty Lue, and I can see Ty Lue saying, I am over driving to the arena at 3 and not knowing if my stars are playing, and I can go to Milwaukee and get Giannis, and I think I would hire him in 1 second. If you're Ty Lue, and I'm not saying he's looking, but I'm saying if you're Ty Lue, and I've been told the Kawhi situation, the coaches don't know. The players don't know at 3 o'clock. They don't know if he's playing. Do you give that Clippers situation one more year? Or do you, if the call came, go to Milwaukee with Giannis, what would you do?
Here's the thing. I think Ty Lue would stay put. I think he believes in what he's built over there. And I think in terms of the Clippers of not knowing if you're going to have Kawhi or if you're going to have Paul George available, the Clippers have already put in their mind they're going to play without Kawhi or Paul George. And if those guys are playing, it's a plus. And that's just, unfortunately, the reality of the issue. The tough part is, you build up all year and Kawhi has not been available. No one questions his play. No one questions Paul George. It's just he hasn't been available. And if you look over with the Nuggets were in a similar situation where everybody was kind of giving up on them. This is the first time the Nuggets have been healthy. So maybe this is a factor within the next year or two where you say, hey, just can the Clippers be healthy? Can they ramp up prior to the playoffs and see if that works out? Because all of a sudden playing Kawhi Leonard, 35 plus minutes in the playoffs just has not worked. I don't think that you can trust that scenario. Maybe he plays 15 minutes, a hard 15 minutes, a hard 20 minutes, and you see if you can have him for the remainder of the way through. So ultimately, I don't think I'm going to give up on the Clippers situation. I don't think I'm giving up on Kawhi. I think it's important to check in and tap in and see where he and Paul George are mentally. And Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Ty Lue sit down at the table and say, hey, guys, what do we want to do moving forward? But I'll say in terms of playing without those guys, I think they've been equipped. They were the most equipped to play starless, and darn near beat the Suns without one of those guys. And Colin, I think the frustration that we all know is that even if you just had a Paul George, you end up winning that series.
Ryan Hollins, as always on a Friday, it's great seeing you, my man. Good luck, continued success. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it, brother. Talk soon.
You bet. Ryan Hollins. It is interesting. You think about this. So years ago when I started this goofy career, like 25, 30 years ago, I worked in Las Vegas. And, I'm fresh out of college, blah, blah, blah. And there was a person I worked with that was super talented. This person didn't show up to work a lot. And it wasn't like a sickness. It was just like, didn't really. So I learned something, is that it created resentment in the building, right? Like everybody's putting the time in, and then this person was not available. And it wasn't like a physical situation. It was just somebody that looked at as a job, not a career, didn't really care. And a really nice person. But I remember that's always stuck with me, is that if what Kawhi is creating is resentment in the building. When you're driving there, Ty Lue, and you're getting to the building at 2:45 and 3, and you have no idea if your star is available, and guys are looking around like, come on, bro. I'm pretty good. I was a college All-American. I can play. So that's why it's important. It's one thing if your star is, like Giannis can miss games, or KD, but it's usually for an injury. But there's so much mystery around Kawhi's career. I do think you can't build around him. And so Ty Lue's sitting there. That's not going to change for a year. This is what it is. And by the way, Kawhi's coming off another injury. So next year could be worse. So I that's always stuck with me, is that I like certainty in my businesses. I would take slightly less talent. Give me certainty. When I drive to work, I know what I have. I know what I don't. I can build around that. Kawhi is one of the few stars I just don't have. I don't know what I'm getting. I don't know if he's available. I think that's really hard on coaches, teammates, and structure. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd, or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.